everybody, what is up? My name is Mackenzie.
And I'm Jonathan.
We are husband and wife, and we'd like to welcome you to TerreDice.
Okay, now I know when I play games with certain friends and family that teaching the rules can be a challenge. They just want to dive in, they just want to play, teach me on the go, I'll learn. But when you want to play those longer adventure games, those dungeon crawlers, RPGs, story modes, it can be challenging because there's just, a lot going on. You gotta teach a lot. But that has all changed with The Adventures of Robin Hood, published by Thames and Cosmos, who published a ton of games we like, and designed by Michael Menzel, who also did the illustration.
Now, if that sounds like something you might want to play, then just keep watching. In The Adventures of Robin Hood, Maid Marian, Will Scarlet, Robin Hood, and Little John are running through the forest, caught up in the chaos of being accused of treason, thievery, and the one they always get you for, tax evasion.
All right, now the core driver of this game is gonna be this storybook. You're reading through it and that tells you where to go. It sets your scene and you are off with 2 rules. They teach you how to move and how to fight.
The first chapter begins with Little John under arrest in the castle, Maid Marian in search of her father, and Robin Hood and Will separately searching the forest. The game board is dual layered and pieces are flipped right side up depending on the adventure that is currently taking place. A guard traps Little John, who must be defeated, flipped upside down before he can escape. A mysterious guardian appears in the clearing of the forest. A boat awaits by the docks of the river. Each player has a large colored disc that represents their character. These discs are tossed into a bag along with some other discs and small cubes. To decide who goes first, a disc is drawn from the bag at random, and that player takes their turn. Each player has 4 pieces used for their movement: 2 short, 1 long, and a second standing figure. Players move by touching their pieces together to form a path around obstacles towards their destination. And if they arrive on the tiles with question marks, they can end their turn by examining them, either speaking with the town folks, interacting with items, or discovering lost treasures.
Now each tile features a number that tells you which page to go to in this book. Now depending on what that story piece is, what that prompt is, it might be a tree that tells you if you're in this chapter, do this, if you're in this chapter, do this. But a player will read the prompt to the player, tell them you have a decision to make, and they will make their decision. And based off of that, they usually get items or information that's necessary or helpful for them to continue the story.
Players also fight guards and nobles, where they draw small cubes out of the bag, hoping to draw a white cube to defeat them and restore hope to the land. Some discs trigger additional turns for the player of the party's choice, or for the guards and the Guy of Gisborne, who is chasing down Robin Hood's merry band.
This guy. As the adventure continues, you'll work through 9 possible chapters where you'll be changing the board, changing the rules, the mechanisms that will either help or hinder you and make your future missions harder or easier. And so that's just all part of The Adventures of Robin Hood.
All right, now that sounds like a lot, but wanted to give you a big overview, but this game is actually so easy. When we first saw it with all of the pieces and like this big game board and like lots of parts, we thought it'd be like fairly complicated, but and not that you could play with all ages, but you totally can with this game. And it is so great to even play with like the family, with the rule book is basically this book. And so you gather around and you're basically reading the story of Robin Hood and getting to play it out right in front of you. It's like reading a bedtime story together.
Okay, but what I loved about this was that I'm usually the one who has to read the rules. And literally the rules read for this is less than 5 minutes. It is so simple to get started. And there's this accompanying booklet that tells you like all the cheat sheet for the rules. And it literally says, do not read this until after your first mission. So it's like they want you to just dive in and just get started. And that was so easy for everyone. So in the book, it's got these 2 bookmarks that keep track of your progress. So the gold is usually on the main story. It's like what's next on your quest. The red is usually like extra combat tips, or like if it's a boss fight or something, or some side objective. That's what the red bookmark will keep track of. But we keep that in what chapter we're on. And at the start of every chapter, it tells you how to reset and set up the board. You're always starting with a clean slate, but you're progressing and changing the board as you go.
So The Adventures of Robin Hood is an adventure game. And normally when I play adventure games, there are a lot of extra things you have to do. Like there's usually a whole nother box, and when like different bots come out you have to defeat, or different activities come out, someone has to go look through the box and build it.
Hundreds of Ziploc baggies
and
cardboard.
It's very hard, a lot to organize, but like this, we've set it up, it's already ready to go out of the box. So user-friendly. And then you were saying, like, normally when you, like, run the game, you were usually spoiled.
Oh, yeah, because when you go to set up these games, you're like, you got to get all the pieces out. You're like, well, I know there's a giant rock golem behind that door because I had to pull it out of the box. Oh, man. But with this, you don't spoil the game at all because you flip it when it tells you to, and the pages are all out of order, so you're jumping all over the book. You're on 20, you're on 70, you're on 120. And so every tile has a page number associated with it.
The designer has done a great job with like really keeping you immersed, and with these flipping tiles, which are kind of like advent tiles, it doesn't break the story.
Let's
it doesn't break the moment.
I will use these movement figures like this. Maid Marian to there, and she's on 208. So that means we pick up this book and we go to page 208, and it says, "You find a boat on the riverbank. Do you want to use it? At the other end of the river, you will find tile 209. If you want to use it, throw 2 violet cubes into the bag. You may flip it over, take your figure, and place it onto the boat." Okay, so if we did this, what's going to happen is we're going to take 2 of these violet cubes, and we're going to toss it in the bag. Now, everything that's in the bag, what's great about this is like set up so easy because you're chucking all this stuff in. Now, the violet cubes are bad because when you fight things, you're going to have to draw cubes out of the bag. And you don't want to draw the violet cubes, you want to draw the white cubes, because that's what helps you defeat guards. But we've got 2 violet cubes, that's okay, because we're going to risk it. And we can flip tile 208. That just became an empty bank now. And we go all the way over to 209, and we flip that too. And boom, the boat appears on the other side of town, and you are in the shade, which means you can hide from the guards when you're in the shade. So it's just really cool. It's like, that's how you go around the board. There's all these prompts with like the villagers that you meet, and they have like things they talk to you about.
The art is like really lovely in this game, but the components are so cool. Like they have these neat capes, like they're running, like literally running through the forest.
Yeah, like the shorter ones, the capes go shorter distances. So that was kind of like a, when she's standing, there's no capes. That was a really
and they're
neat
all
touch.
like a little different. With these pieces here, you can kind of line them up just right if you're trying to reach something. So you can kind of get creative with how you make your people stretch so
Mackenzie
they can make
gets
it.
very creative, as in they're probably not touching creative.
No, they do touch. So we have played up to 5 chapters in the Adventures of Robin Hood, and the story is getting very interesting. I'm excited to finish out the game, but it is loosely based on like all the tales, but you get to kind of make your own decisions. Especially at this one point in the story, it will come to a split, and you have to choose one path, and like once you make it, you can't go back. The adventure is going to change, and I really like that.
Yeah. Now, I mentioned that you can reset the game back to any stage, so that means you could go replay your favorite adventures, go do it again. There are a couple things that make the replay really good. First of all, in each mission that you're on, you have several paths you can take. So it's like, are you going to save the person, or are you going to go like try to steal the thing? So it gives you 2 different choices, and that becomes your primary mission for that round. But I think the other thing that's really cool, there's this shield here, this like 1, that indicates it's our first playthrough. If we come back to a mission, we're going to put it on the 2. And when you do that, it gives you totally different prompt. So you will get more than the 9 chapters of play out of this if you're really enjoying what you're doing. But I think this is a very fulfilling experience as is. Okay, so mostly positives across the board. I would say one thing that was kind of difficult, I said that the rules were really easy to learn, and they were. But what I found really confusing was in the first several chapters, the combat rules changed. So you fought one way, and then you fought another way, and then another way. And so the combat rules kept getting harder and harder and harder. And I never really knew what the current rules were. I like always had to check the book every time it happened at first. Now we're at a consistent place where it's built up to the full rule set, so it's like the same every time. But I felt like that was bumpier than it needed to be. It could have been more consistent and more clear where to reference that. The game does a pretty good job at preventing one player from kind of quarterbacking everybody and telling you what to do, just because we all had our own separate objectives. But the game does narrow down sometimes where it's like you're depending on one person to do their thing right. So you will run into situations where if that one person doesn't really know what's going on, other people are going to be telling them what to do.
Yeah.
So everyone kind of has to like, hey, this is my game too, I'm gonna play. And so you really have to kind of stand up for yourself and make your own decision. So I gotta say, this is a really great experience. I think Michael Menzel did a great job. The illustration that he did too, he's credited as the artist.
I know, that's amazing.
Really fantastic.
Yeah.
So this is just, it's a really good package.
All right, everyone, and that is our review of The Adventures of Robin Hood, which is available today to purchase. So if you want to go have your own adventure, you can find that. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe and click that bell so you can be notified whenever we put up a new video. Can you put down below? I'm really interested in like what's your favorite like cooperation game, and make sure you check out The Adventures of Robin Hood. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Happy playing.